Hey everyone, it is wild card weekend. NFL playoffs are here. And because it's wild card weekend, let's ask some wild questions. And today's question I'm going to be answering is, will the Minnesota Vikings go to the Super Bowl? Let's hit the intro and get into the conversation. Hey everyone, so thankful you showed up to talk about the NFL playoffs with me, and everyone's going after a ring. This is my fantasy football ring. It's the 5th championship in my league. And will the Minnesota Vikings actually win a ring? They've been to the Super Bowl 4 times and lost every time. And I don't know about you, but for me, and as you know, I'm a Packers fan, but I love talking about the NFL. I love talking about NFL content, and so I'm going to try to keep my NFL hat on today, not just my Packers biased. Okay, so I'll tell you a couple things about this team. It's way better than people are saying. In fact, I feel like I believe in the Minnesota Vikings more than most Minnesota Vikings fans have. Now, full disclosure, I thought you were going to have a terrible season. I thought you were going to have 4 wins, literally 4 wins. I did not believe in Sam Darnold, especially with the news of J.J. McCarthy going down, your rookie sensation. And here you are in the playoffs. I'm shocked. Now, some of you are going, how could you even say such a thing in hindsight 2020? Yeah, that's easy. It's so easy for you to say hindsight 2020 that you knew that the Vikings were going to make the playoffs. No, you didn't. There was literally nobody that was like, we're going to make the playoffs. Even Vikings fans was sitting there going, no. I mean, this looks bad. It's awful. It's over. I mean, I was really negative regarding like 4 wins. That's how much I did not believe in Sam. Okay. I'm sorry. That's just full disclosure. But I was totally wrong. And I knew that you guys getting Aaron Jones was going to be incredible. I knew you had a great wide receiver core. I knew that. I also thought that last year you guys were going to have a phenomenal year. I actually picked you guys to win the division last year. But your defense was so terrible that I was totally wrong on that prediction. And thanks a lot for wrecking my prediction, Vikings. Okay. So Flores, I'm like, well, I thought you'd do a better job. It was this year. It was 1 year later. Flores has this defense flying. And so when you start looking at this team, and I know that people want to like totally count them out, but can we just remind ourselves that it's called, oh, wait a minute. That was from my other video. Well, it is called Wild Card Weekend for a reason. And as a Packers fan, everybody's picking the Eagles to beat the Packers. But nobody's picking the Vikings to make the Super Bowl. And here they are. They are so much better than we all thought. And now that there's a negative narrative on this team and they have no chance. And everyone has written off the Vikings. And I don't really I understand why, but I don't think it's a good enough reason. So let me talk about this for a moment. Okay. The Vikings are the best 5th seed in NFL playoff history. Listen, 14 wins and only 3 losses, and they land as the 5th seed. This team is contending for a Super Bowl. Like, that is a fact. Okay? Absolute fact. It is insane for us to think any other way than that, because that is the goal. That's the plan. You have the guy who's considered the coach. They're saying he's going to be coach of the year. Okay, coach of the year. And you don't think they have a chance to make the Super Bowl with a 14-win team? I mean, it's craziness to just write them off. And we know why, okay? And let me just talk about that negative narrative. The negative narrative is that the Lions blew out the Vikings in the final week of the season to lose the NFC North and the NFC number 1 seed. And then everyone's like, it's over. The Vikings are done. But can I just remind you that it's the playoffs and it's a new season. It's the postseason. And so I don't care what they did in the regular season. It does matter, don't get me wrong. But let's talk about that game for a moment. Let's talk about this season. And I'll throw up this graphic that I made about the schedule. Now, did I even bring it up here? I don't think I have. So I'll talk about it in a moment, like as I'm bringing this up. So this season has had a lot of ups and very few downs. Okay. So we'll bring it up. Here they are. Okay. Like these scores, these games. Now, granted, for my Packers, they only beat us by 2 in both games. So I don't think they're kings and we're peasants. Don't get me wrong. But they found ways to win. And that's what playoff teams do. And that's what championship teams do. Okay. So you look at, you smoked the Giants, which you should have. 49ers were healthy at that time. You beat them. That was massive. Houston destroyed them. That's a playoff team right there, everyone. Beat Green Bay, playoff team. Jets, close game. I might have that score wrong, actually, now that I look at it. But then you lost to Detroit by 2. You lost to the Rams by 10. That's the big one right there, because that's who you're playing on Monday night. Okay. And then you beat Indy. It was a terrible game against Jacksonville. You found a way to win. Tennessee by 10. Chicago by 3. For some reason, the Chicago Bears play our division amazingly. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But then you beat Arizona by 9. You smoked Atlanta, which was the Kirk Cousins revenge game. And then you have Chicago, where you made a statement game. You had a barn burner against Seattle. Seattle was fighting for their playoff lives at that moment. And then you beat Green Bay again by 2, which everyone's saying you guys playing prevent defense when we came back. Whatever. Say what you want. But then week 18. This is the part where everyone's like, okay, the Vikings have no chance to win. They have absolutely no chance to win. I would disagree, and I'll tell you why. It was close all the way to the end. And the difference between the Detroit Lions and the Vikings in that game was one thing. And again, it comes down to this for the whole playoffs, and I get it. It is Sam Darnold. The guy that nobody believed in, who's played lights out. He's literally should be in the conversation for MVP. That's how good his numbers have been. Okay. He should be in the conversation. He's definitely comeback player of the year for sure, in the way of like stats or most improved. I don't even know what it is. He struggled against the Lions' pressure. He was missing throws he normally made all season. And it was the Sam Darnold that we thought we were going to see all season, and it didn't. He was absolutely incredible. He was absolutely incredible all year, and then he just fell apart in that big moment. Now, what is it? Was it the big moment? Was it the Lions defense? Was it like, the pressure, the weight of this game, the magnitude of this game's pressure on his shoulders? I don't know. All I know is they end up losing that game. But it was, what was it? At halftime, it was 10-6. And then after the third quarter, it was 17-9. Okay? They never scored another point in the fourth quarter. Then Detroit scored 14 more points, and the game was over. Sam Darnold was 18 for 41 for 166 yards. Aaron Jones was out. Cam Akers had 65 yards on 6 carries. Jefferson only had 54 yards. It was bad. It was bad. It was a beatdown in Detroit. So I get it. And that's why the negative narrative is there, right? That is why everyone is sitting there going, they lines blew them out. The Vikings have no chance. But I think they've got a chance. In fact, I think they got a really good chance. Now, I've been trying to figure out my predictions, and it's been hard. Don't get me wrong. It's been really hard. But I've got it right now as the Bills versus the Vikings in the finals. And I know for some of you, you're like, that is insane to even say, especially being a Packers fan, right? But I think that the Vikings play, like, first of all, I think the Vikings win on Monday night against the Rams. This Vikings team is going to show up. Now, I mean, obviously, if you lose to the Rams, it's like you're complete frauds. But, I mean, you're in the playoffs. You got to beat good teams now. There's no, like, weak team. You're like, oh, yeah, we played the Rams. Oh, shoot, we lost to them in the regular season, right? Those are some of the things you got to think about, right? And so I know there's some people like Rams fans are like, oh, man, we've already beat them, so we're going to beat them again. You got to earn everything. There's nothing, hey, you did this before, now you're going to do it again. It can be totally different in the playoffs. And obviously because of injuries and all that kind of stuff. So big test Monday night. But then after that is the craziness, right? So who would they play after? It all depends on who they play after. And maybe I have that graphic up here right now. No, I don't. I have it on my phone. I'll just download it and I'll put it up. Actually, I'll just bring it up on my phone and I'll just tell you. So it all depends. It reseeds, right? So the reseeding is, it would go like if the Eagles beat. By the way, Vikings fans, you got to be cheering for my Packers to win. But if the Packers win, then they play Detroit. And then Minnesota would play the winner of the Bucs and Commanders. So that's a winnable game. Totally winnable game. But if the Eagles win, it would be Minnesota versus, well, it depends who wins, the Bucs or the Commanders. It could be Eagles, Vikings. More likely it's going to be, it would be Eagles, Vikings, or no, sorry, Eagles, Bucs if they win, and then it would be Detroit versus Minnesota in Detroit. And because they've already lost to them, you're like, and they got blown out, you're like, there's no way. But what if Sam Darnold makes those passes? What if he makes those passes? It's possible, right? I think it's more than possible that they could have a bounce back game and win the game. Like, we need to seriously consider that, right? Seriously consider it, because this team defensively is as good as anybody in the league. Like, honestly, this is why I'm just trying to bring this graphic up if you're wondering why I'm stalling and why I'm kind of stuttering here. I just got it right here. NFL playoff picture. Look at this playoff picture. Okay, so let me take the banner down and then bring this up. So right here, right? Like, it all depends on who wins this weekend. And then it reseeds, and then we go from there. I don't think that the Minnesota Vikings are a surefire loser to the Eagles, to the Lions. I think they're there. They're as good as anybody, and they have a chance. They have more than a chance. So that's where I'm at. I actually don't want to pick the Vikings anymore, and it's partly because of my friend Steven. Let Us Pray. Him and I did a video together. I predicted the Vikings versus Bills. Can you think about that? If that's a Super Bowl final, okay? If that's a Super Bowl final, we're talking about two teams that have made the NFL Super Bowl 4 times and both lost. And then they would get their first championship. So if the Vikings win the Super Bowl, I mean, that would go a long way for this franchise, right? But Buffalo lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. I watched all of them. I'm like, yeah, what's the chances of you losing 4 in a row? Now, Kansas City looks really good. I shouldn't count out Kansas City. I bet against Brady for way too long. So that's one of the things I when I think about this team, I think, oh, man. How are they going to lose? I don't think you're as good as they were last year, but they still ended up being, 14-2 or something like 15-2. No, they were 15-2. That's how they ended. And everyone's thinking the Lions are going to win, who are 15-2. Like, why are we discounting the Chiefs? But anyways, that's another conversation. By the way, my next video is going to be talking about the LA Chargers' chances for the Super Bowl. I'm going to be having my friend Peter Day on. You should check it out. Check out my channel, YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch. I'm even on TikTok, everyone. Okay. So that's where we're at. The one other thing I want to talk about regarding this team, and I think it's really important, is this defense. Now, it's wild to think that these are the fewest points allowed in the NFL in the 2024 regular season, and Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit are all on this list, all from the same division, and Minnesota is the best out of the 3. Now, by 6 points and by 10 points, right? But they're really not, 30 points off, 31 points off of first place Chargers. And it just shows, like, you got the Eagles, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions with incredible defenses. This is one of the reasons why I think the Minnesota Vikings have a legitimate shot of making and possibly winning their very first Super Bowl ever. It's wild to think about. That trophy case for them is been barren for way too long. I'm not predicting the Vikings to win the Super Bowl. At this moment, I'm predicting them to make the Super Bowl. I hope I'm dead wrong. Don't get me wrong. As a Packers fan, I want my Packers to win another Super Bowl. But I think it's a great conversation to have is, will the Packers win or not? Will the Minnesota Vikings go to the Super Bowl? Why is everyone counted it out? Because Sam Darnold, nobody believes in this guy. But if he plays great, it's going to be amazing. And we know that defense wins championships. And if their defense balls out, let's consider that. And then the last thing is this. What are the keys to the Vikings making the Super Bowl? Post it in the comments. Okay, everyone? Post it in the comments. This has been a 18-minute video. And take a moment to post it in the comments. What are the keys? Especially all you Vikings fans out there. What are the keys for you making the Super Bowl this year and possibly winning the Super Bowl? Post in the comments. I do want to know. Aren't you blown away that I predicted the Vikings? I try to make passionate, realistic, and honest content. I have the Packers upsetting the Eagles, but I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong on that as well. But everyone's counting all your SKOL Vikings out. I want to know. Do you think they're going to make the Super Bowl? I think so right now, but maybe I'm wrong. I can see the Ravens making it. I can see the Chiefs making it. I can see the Bills making it. I can see the Lions making it. I can see the Vikings making it. Packers, Eagles, maybe even the Bucks. Like, I don't know. There's some good teams out there, so it's going to be hard. That's why we watch. We don't know what's going to happen. But I so appreciate you showing up and being a part of this. Hey, everyone. Let's have some fun watching some NFL football. And it starts today. It's Saturday. Chargers game's coming on in just an hour. And so hope you're doing well. Join my next video. It's literally starting in 10 minutes. If you're watching this late, you might want to. Peter and I do a great job together. So have a great day. And of course, always, go Pack, go!
change.